Equity financing provides valuable opportunities for accountants. That's the theme of Accountants Minute for Friday, the 9th of August. SME needs accountants who have skill sets beyond the preparation of annual accounts and income tax returns. Because we need to be honest. What good does an annual set of accounts and a tax return do to a SME who's struggling in all of the problems that businesses are experiencing at present? They need regular input throughout the year. 45 years ago, the FMRC was created at the University of New England in Armidale by Dr. Jeff Meredith, later Professor Jeff Meredith, and the whole idea was the diversification of accountancy services. Because Meredith and his colleagues, Andrew Geddes, Sam Beasley, and others, argued that accountants had a greater role to the business community than just preparing the annual accounts and tax returns, as important as those two items are. But a more important activity was to provide a range of services throughout the year, similar to what happens in larger businesses, whereby there is data being created for management daily, weekly, monthly, and the process is repeated again. And there is accountability because there's key performance indicators, business metrics being prepared, budgets and cash flow forecasts, monthly financial accounts that are compared back to the budgets, and variation reports are prepared and investigated. So the real benefit that the big end of town has got, and let's face it, a lot of big end of town business operations compete with SME businesses. Walk around any shopping centre and look at the butcher shops, the bread shops, the liquor stores, and only 20 or 30 metres away, one of the major Woolworths or Coles or IGA have got the same type of businesses operating in-house. Yet they know on a weekly basis what their performance was in every department in their stores every week, so that there can be an analysis conducted by the manager, overall manager, the general manager of that store, with the various subordinate managers. This is the service that SMEs need, and this is the vision that ESS BIZTOOLS is now carrying forward. Because 45 years ago, Meredith and Geddes and Beasley had the vision, but it's still not fully implemented, is it? It's still not implemented. Because we've got thousands of SMEs in strife every year. Now, whether they start off in business too early with not enough money, but isn't that part of the responsibility of accountants to be vocal in bringing this to their attention, writing articles for social media, warning about starting up businesses without sufficient capital, warning about the problems of giving credit? Not everyone pays you on a 30-day basis. There's a lot of businesses in Australia lucky to get paid on an 80-day basis, let alone a 30-day basis. And understanding the payment terms required by suppliers, and for a new business it may well be cash on delivery. Yet when they sat down and worked out their funding for their business, they didn't take that into account. They assumed they'd be paid, they'd be required to make payments on a 30-day basis, just like they assumed that their debtors would pay them on that basis. It's not the real world. It doesn't work that way. They need some practical, experienced people like you, an accountant or a bookkeeper is involved in this sort of work, to bring it to their attention, to develop that plan for the first 12 months, not just 6 months as Paul Robson, the CEO of MYOB, advocated in his article in the Financial Review back in February. And it was a great article because it really brought to the fore the problem that SMEs have with fiscal management. I'm not advocating that every SME should become a very proficient person in fiscal management. I think what we should be saying to them as accountants is you need accounting advice from day one, and we can give it to you. So please put up your hand if you're going to be proactive in making these services available to your SME clients. A virtual CFO service. And I think it would make businesses far better equipped. So this whole question of whether businesses have sufficient finance for their operations is very important. And we're going to talk about that in our series of Accountants Minutes for the next few editions. But there needs to be a business plan. That's where it all starts. What's the plan? Make these people sit down and write the plan with them. And they might have identified that they're going to undertake some research and development projects. That would be great. Or they might be interested in exporting. And then you could bring to their attention the Export Marketing Development Grant. And what's their business expansion plan? What are they proposing to do? Have they got an experienced team they've put together? Or are they going to do it all themselves? Which a lot of people do. But they need some input and advice. How are they going to protect the intellectual property, which hopefully they're going to develop within their business? And what are the key drivers and what controls have they got over them? One of the key drivers is debtors, understanding debtors management, understanding the necessity for stamping the due date for payment, whatever the payment terms that your clients negotiate. And I hope they have with their customers. But that goes back to the initial agreement with a new customer. Do they submit to the customer a terms of agreement letter, email, which sets out the terms of engagement that your client's prepared to take on with those customers, and stressing to them the payment dates are based on the invoice. And then what you need to make sure is your client understands the importance of making sure the invoices are properly prepared, that they have whatever other fringe documents the customers ask to be supplied. You know, a couple of years ago I was speaking at a conference that we'd organised on corporate governance, actually, in some mining communities. In fact, it was a tour of mining communities and other major towns around Queensland to better equip them on corporate governance. And we started talking about debtors and then debtors days outstanding. And someone said to me, well, what should our debtors days outstanding be? I said, it really depends on what you've negotiated. And then it depends how efficient you are in getting your invoices to your customers. Are you making sure you've indicated the due date for payment? And then how quick do you get the statements out to them? And one person said, well, my debtors days outstanding are over 90 days. Should they be lower? I said, I would have hoped so. And I already knew who was representing what industries in this group of 40 people, because I had a list. And I said, well, this gentleman down the front seems to be in the same industry as you. And I had no pre-warning of this. I confess to you, I had no pre-warning. I said, what's your debtors days outstanding? And he said, oh, about 35, 36 days. I said, well, hang on. The gentleman at the back, according to my sheet of information I was given by the group that invited you, said you're in the same industry. And he said, yes, I know him. I know Jim down the back. And I said, well, what's the problem? And what it transpired was Jim was not enclosing all of the documentation. He was not abiding by the due date for the invoice to be sent to the company, which happened to have its payment office in Melbourne, and we were in a regional Queensland mining location. And because they never got all the information they'd specified, they just put it aside. And it was up to him to then supply that information, otherwise it might have taken months before he got paid. No wonder debtors days outstanding was sitting at 90 days. He did not have an organised debtor system. I said, have you talked to your accountant about this? He said, oh no, he's not interested in any of this. They just do my tax. That's all they do. Well, have you talked to anyone else about it? What, can other people help me? I said, of course they can. I said to the guy down the front, do you get help from anyone? He said, oh yeah, my accountant does quarterly accounts for me, so I know exactly where I am. I said to the guy down the back, Jim, how often do you see anyone? You don't get any information during the year? No. So this is the problem that I think we need as a profession to be committing to help overcome. Because it's a great waste of endeavour, isn't it, when SMEs fail? And a lot of them need assistance. But we need to be honest. We need to be honest that they need the assistance. We need to be honest that it's going to cost them money. We need to be honest with how much money they need to go into business in the first place. And if we don't do that, there will continue to be failure after failure in the SME community, when some of them can easily scale up and create great businesses. So really that's, I think, what should be our challenge at this time. How do we prepare documentation that can assist our SME clients? And are we aware of the opportunities that they have to obtain funding if they've got a reasonable business, because of the availability of businesses to be able to raise capital from the public through crowdsourced funding, equity raising, early stage innovation company, Section 708, or even venture capital? That's the challenge for accountants. ESS BIZTOOLS has the product packages prepared to assist you to deliver the services that SME needs. Have any questions or comments? Please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. But please visit our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, and look at the various product packages that we have available to assist accountants and bookkeepers to really deliver advisory services for the benefits of your clients. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye.